Hello and welcome to Big Muddy Mayhem. This is the podcast where we talk about true crime and bad behavior throughout the Midwest.
Each week we'll bring you 2 stories from the heartland that might break your heart, but we hope to entertain you along the way.
I'm Tracey Laricha.
And I'm Janet O'Brien. Hello!
Hello, Janet, how are you?
Good. This has been so long since we spoke.
Oh, we're doing 2 tonight.
Yes.
And Cecil swiped me on the eyes, so I've got a little bit of a scratch on my eyelid right now, and I hope that we're going to be able to get through this.
We should be okay.
But I think we'll be all right.
Yes.
I can do a podcast with one eye. This is the commitment that I have to you, dear listeners. I think that for this one, I go first.
Yes, you
tonight.
do. Yeah, you do.
All right. Well, Janet, I know that we're doing 2 tonight.
Yes.
And you are just coming back off of a long weekend.
Yes, I am.
So I wanted to give you a little bit of a treat.
Oh, good.
So I have something that is maybe one of your favorite things.
Okay.
I have a haunted amusement park. So we are going to Mercer County, West Virginia for this story. Mountain Mama.
Nice.
So we are going to have to go a little bit way back to go to the Shawnee Amusement Park. We're going to have to go all the way back to the 1700s.
Wow.
1773.
Oh my God, really?
We're meeting our first character in this story, and this is Mitchell Clay.
Mm-hmm.
He is the first English colonizer with his wife and their 14 kids.
Oh my God, no.
Sir, get off of her. 1781. Thankfully, still only 14 kids. But Mitchell is kind of out on an expedition for the day. He comes back. He finds out that the Shawnee have killed 2 of his kids.
Oh no.
And they've kidnapped a third,
Ugh.
Ezekiel. And they've run off with him. So he gets together a posse and is just like, I'm going to go and we're going to exact revenge.
Exactly.
Also, the other kids and the mom are like safe in a neighbor's house.
Oh, okay.
So he knows that everybody else is good.
Right.
Anyway, he goes and he looks for the other children, and they find that Ezekiel has been burned at the stake.
Oh my God.
Mitchell and his posse, though, have gone after these indigenous people, and they have kind of killed a whole bunch of them.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
In retribution. We're going to go to 1837.
Okay.
So this is after Clay.
Right.
Like after his family and all of that. Mercer County is named. It's named for General Mercer, as is the city of Princeton.
Okay.
They talk about both of them in the musical Hamilton.
Oh, wow.
Princeton is burned to the ground in the 1860s during the Civil War. They are basically trying to keep Union states from being able to get supplies to Union states.
Right, exactly.
23 Union soldiers are killed. And the only surviving building is, and I only mention this because I'm 12, a place that they call the McNutt House. Now, we are looking at the 1920s.
Okay.
Now, we're just skipping
I know, right?
There's a whole lot here.
Okay.
1926. A man named Snidow builds a park/hotel on the property.
Right.
He has a daughter. His daughter is maybe 3. And it's one of those old-fashioned hotels where it's the 1920s, and so you have the gold gilded cage.
Yes.
Well, His daughter goes running for the elevator one day. Oh, I know. You're looking at me and you know already. She jumps for it and gets caught in between the cage and the next floor. And so she is basically like crushed in half.
Oh my God.
In between the two elevator floors. But this is not the first death, so don't get sad yet.
Don't get sad yet.
Gradually, this hotel transfers into a water park.
What?
The families that live in the area are all coal miners.
Okay.
And so it's nice to have fun.
Sure.
Good to have things to do.
Right, exactly.
When you're not working. There's a Ferris wheel, there are swings, there's a pond, there's a pool. All of the early days of American thrill rides.
Sure.
All of that. So eventually there are at least 6 different deaths. There's a boy that is drowned in the pond.
Uh-huh.
And he's found 3 days later.
Oh.
When, okay, all right, can you tell me anything more horrifying? And I mean, I'm someone that likes to go to the lake and just go swim. You like to go to the river. Of course.
Right? Absolutely. Uh-huh.
You're swimming along and your foot accidentally brushes up along the corpse of a child.
Oh! Yeah, no.
Not great.
Not great. Not great at all.
You don't just go climb out of the water and go eat a hot dog after that. In 1961, there's a 6-year-old boy who is dropped off by his mom at the start of the day. Now, normally I would be like, what the hell? But you and I grew up in that. Like, how many hours were you left alone at a roller rink?
A lot. Or the mall, or wherever.
Right, completely. So, Mom drops off the kid first thing in the morning, like, here's $5 in your sandwich.
Right.
And then, hours later, she goes to pick up her kid, and he's not there. And he's not there. And she asks, and he's not there. And a few hours after that, they find him at the bottom of the pool. His arm has been stuck in a drain.
Oh my God.
So he was...
Yeah, he drowned. Got
pulled under... Yeah.
Oof.
Oof. And then, all right, well, I've saved the worst for last. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Janet.
Yes, Tracy.
You like theme parks?
Yes, I do.
I like theme parks.
I know you do.
You know the swings?
Yes. Oh, yeah, the swings. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, are you about to not like the swings?
I actually don't like the swings now, so you're not losing me on anything here.
Anyway, there is a girl, and she's on the swing in a fancy pink dress. And this is in like the 1940s, 1950s.
Sure.
So, next to the swings, they have a concession stand.
Yes.
A truck is bringing in sodas for the concession stand.
Yeah.
It backs in.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the swings properly blocked off. This little girl in the swing smacks face first
into the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's not great.
No, it's not.
So the amusement park closes in 1964.
Mm-hmm.
And then again In the 1980s, though, it's opened up again because a man named Gaylord White, who had gone to the amusement park in the 60s, is like, same. Yeah, I want to do this again. Like,
Right.
opens it up. And he manages to keep the place open for a few years. Now, there are a handful of things that he does. This is, again, nostalgia for him.
Right, absolutely.
So he wants it to be just like it was
Sure.
when he was a kid.
Of course.
One thing that he does really want to do is to bring back the swing ride.
Oh.
So he does, and he looks specifically for like one of the old vintage
Swings, right.
swings. He gets a swing ride. He finds it from like someplace like else in the
Yeah,
Midwest and
absolutely.
whatnot, brings it back. He runs the serial number. Janet.
It's the same swing set, isn't it?
It's the same set! Very same one.
I wouldn't bring that one back.
Well, you're not Gaylord White, are you?
Apparently not.
He brings it back. They do put a ribbon on that particular swing.
Oh my god.
And sometimes it moves on its
Uh-huh.
own.
Mm-hmm.
Some people leave toys in it. Oh, there are a couple of other things about this particular... So, all right. So, a couple of things that you need to know about this theme park. Number one, they're like, we can't afford the insurance.
Right.
So they shut it down. So now this place is still open. You can still go there, but you're just touring a haunted amusement park. There's a ticket booth that sometimes locks people into it.
Oh no!
Oh, it's not great.
No.
Something else is that before they turn it into a haunted amusement park, the Gaylord family, they decide that because they're kind of in the Midwest, they were like, okay, well, people do like mud racing.
Oh yeah.
And so they're like, we're just going to dig out a whole bunch of things and turn, like,
Sure.
put in a bog pit.
Right, absolutely.
And then you guys can go and do, like, mud races. And,
Right.
You know, just, like, stock car, whatever. As they do this, they're digging in the first little bit. They find a whole bunch of jewelry and pottery.
I would assume Native American. It's a burial ground, isn't it?
And they find almost immediately like 13 bodies. And then they contact, thankfully, a university.
Thank God.
And they start looking at it and they're like, oh, yeah, it's probably pretty close to like 3,000 people
Oh my God.
buried here. And then also they say, looking at the history and the time, it sounds as though there was probably like some kind of like a fever or...
Oh, they killed a bunch of people at once.
And so they leave all the kids and the women and all of that there, and then anybody that's well enough to travel travels. And there's a whole lot of like children there.
Oh no.
But they think probably as many as 3,000 people there underneath this amusement park.
Oh my God. I can't tell why it's haunted.
What's going on? Where also a whole bunch of kids died from negligence.
Oh my God.
And it is still there.
Uh-huh.
They don't, like, you can't go ride the rides anymore, which is probably a good thing. But you can go and visit the land, and there's, so the swings, like I said, there were a couple of them that like seemed to move on their own.
Right.
There's a red ribbon that they put on the swing that the little girl died on, and there are also a couple of other places that just seem to have really specific energy.
Right.
And there's a ticket booth that doesn't even have a door with a lock on it, but people have a tendency to get stuck in there.
Oh my God! Yeah.
And woof, it's a whole lot. But yes, if you want to go to Lake Shawnee,
I've actually seen a couple of ghost hunter things about that place.
in West Virginia.
Oh yeah, as soon as I'm like, I know where you're going with this. Is it that? Yep. No, it's definitely. It's like I remember the kid drowning in the pond. I don't remember the pool, but I definitely remember the girl on the swings. And I'm like,
That's the most horrible
that
thing.
is horrifying.
Oh.
Just horrifying.
Oh gosh, I know.
And then he brings back the same swing set.
Hi again.
So,
Hi, it's me.
I'm the problem. It's me. So, as I have mentioned before on this podcast, my dad, for about 17 years...
Right, I knew you would love a haunted carnival story.
He worked for the carnival industry, sold, as he likes to say, I sold teddy bears to traveling carnies.
Mm-hmm.
And as a child, I used to go to a lot of amusement, basically, traveling carnivals. And he always knew them because he sold to them. And the ride, I was always told, that is the sketchiest out of all of them
the
swings.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I will ride them every once in a while, but normally it needs to be a newer version of it at an actual amusement park.
The one that I love, but that also scares me, are the salt and pepper shakers.
Oh yeah, I don't like those either.
I like them.
I will go on them, but
I'm the one that's like, I'll go with you on
yes.
any ride.
Just not too much spinning.
I can only do like 4 or 5 at a time, and then I need a little bit of a break.
Right.
But yes.
That was amazing.
So there is my story on the
love
haunted.
Yes, the haunted amusement park.
And you are getting ready to tell me a part
Woo!
too. And I have one next week for you that is going to kind of like saddlebag into this.
Sweet.
All right.
Okay.
So tell me.
Okay, so we're going back. Everybody is max exodus to Jonestown. Mm-hmm. So I am going to, everybody knows the story is Jonestown. A lot of people, the People's Temple is being ridiculed now. They already have this property. They've been working the property actually for a couple of years.
Right.
But now that there's this bad spotlight on Jim Jones and the People's Temple, he's like, okay, we're going now. This is going to be the safest place in case there's a nuclear war,
Oh,
and people have been working on this place for a while now to make sure you have, water and places to sleep and possibly a farm, just anything.
New speakers.
Right.
Wait, no, that's a different call.
So we are going to talk about a specific survivor from the Jonestown Massacre.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. Now, there are I've read some other things. They're like, oh, this is the only survivor. And I'm like, no, there's more than one. There's actually a book. I have to look up the name of the book that talks about...
Only a few.
Yeah, there's a handful of them. We're going to talk about Tom Bogue and his family. Mm-hmm. So, his father, Jim Bogue, was living in California. Him and his wife were out one day, and Tom's sister, I think it was their daughter, maybe it was a son, I don't know, 1-year-old, wanders away. They're on the beach. Mm-hmm. And basically one parent thought the other parent was watching this child.
Oh, wow.
Can't find the child. They call for a few hours. Other people on the beach are scanning the beach.
Also, that sounds like something you would talk about.
Right, and then child ends up washing up on
like Madeline McCann.
Right.
It's like, what? We were both right here having drinks. Like, who?
So the child ends up washing up on the shore, just devastated.
Oh,
so Jim, he is just like, he was lost. He did not know what to do. You know, it's like, I just lost my child in this horrible way. So he decides, well, you know what? I'm going to start looking around. And he ends up finding this church that had just started up in Redwood Valley called the People's Temple.
But looking around for what?
Just any kind of answer to what happened. Because, you know, he's broken. He just lost a kid.
Okay.
And so he starts going to this church. And he said he went there basically for a few months. And they got super involved almost immediately. Now, when you joined, if they, you know, they're like, oh, come over, you know, we're going to do this potluck later. It's going to be, you know, nice. And so they start getting more and more involved. And then Jim gets taken aside and he's like, here, why don't you, go ahead and, we have this blank piece of paper here. Just sign your name on it.
Oh, no.
Just sign your name on the bottom. It's going to be for like you know, we're trying to help, a lot of different things. This is like for political stuff. That way we just have your signature. And he's like, okay, that's weird. It was not for that. And then to pull their members in even further, they would say, you're going to write this letter. And you're going to basically lie on yourself. And we're using this letter to see how committed you are to staying with us. You're going to write a letter saying that you have molested all of your kids.
What?
Yes.
Why would anyone do that? Like, why would you lie about?
He said he stood there and he did not know what to do. He watched other members just blindly fill this out. He was almost ready to step away, but he was just like, I don't, like...
Why would you know?
I don't know why. But he ended up writing the freaking letter.
Oh my goodness.
So now they have blackmail, untrue blackmail, on their members.
Saying that he did, like, basically the worst thing that a human being could possibly freaking do.
Right. So he's just like, okay, I did that. So he's stuck in the church. Now, when they started going to this church, they had their son, Tom Bogue, who we're going to be talking about mostly. He said, Tom was like, yeah, when my dad pulled us into that church, I was like 6. And at this point, Jim Jones was still reading from the Bible. Like, at some point, he just stopped reading it from the Bible completely.
No.
He did... Tom, Jim's son, Tom, was not particular... He did not like following the rules. Ever.
Okay.
He was a very rebellious small child. So he did not follow this whole indoctrination that, you know, the other members were falling for. At the age of 9, Tom was like, I have had it with these people. They are all crazy. I am only 9 and I'm figuring this out way before anybody else. And he tries to run away.
Wow.
So at the age of 9, he basically, he's just like, yeah, I want to get out of here. They were doing a bus trip from where the church is up north, and they're going to do this bus trip that goes all the way down to LA. Mm-hmm. He says they end up stopping somewhere. He grabs his sleeping bag, he grabs a box of food, and he sneaks off the bus. And he's like, those buses were so crowded, they didn't notice if you were gone.
Completely.
So like they didn't figure it out till a few hours later.
So bye. Yeah.
So he's not even on the bus, and he's just basically at this bus at a rest area, and he's taken his sleeping bag, climbed to the roof of the building, and just eating his food, and he is just happy. He's just like, I don't need to be around those crazy people. Eventually, about a couple days later, one of the maintenance workers noticed there's a 9-year-old sleeping on top of our building in a sleeping bag. What is going on? So, so they're like, yeah, that's not great. So he ends up getting not great. So he felt free when he did this. He was so happy. But once they figure out, okay, you're not supposed to be here, Somehow he gets sent to one of the other churches.
They have to put him somewhere.
Somewhere, right. And then he ends up going to his aunt and uncle's house. His aunt and uncle who are not members of the church.
Hello. Nice.
So
good.
he's telling them. He's telling, and I listened to the interview with Tom, and he's like, oh no, my aunt and uncle absolutely knew we were a part of a cult.
And they know better, and so they're trying to...
They're trying to help him.
Oh, gosh.
And so he's like, can I just stay with you? And he really wanted to be with them. But of course, what happens? Tom's mom ends up showing up.
No.
Picking him up and says, nope, you have to come back to the family.
You're my child.
Yeah, and then of course, because it's this type of cult, they do, the whole separation of thing.
Oh.
So he doesn't even go, his mom takes him,
Oh.
but he ends up getting sent away to another family to discipline him. So it's another family who's a part of the People's Temple.
Because you're being removed from
Right.
anyone and everyone that you might know. Oh,
right.
gosh.
Which just made him want to leave even more.
Mm-hmm.
His intent, when he left at the age of 9, he did not plan on coming back. He's like, when you think about it, if you talk to other people who are trying to leave, run away or whatever, after a few hours, they're like, I miss my mom, I miss my family cooking. He was like, I was not like that at all. He's like, I just did not want to come back because I knew there was something super wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So now we go back to the dad. He's like, this is not great. And Jim Jones has already started separating the family by via putting their kid who they can't control because he keeps trying to run away. So they put him with a different family. Then Jim Jones introduces the wife to this other parishioner, and she starts to form a relationship. So now this guy who wrote this letter that he didn't even want to write doesn't want to be a part of the church. And now his wife is sleeping with somebody else who's a part of the church. And everybody's telling him he's nuts.
Oh, wow.
And he's just like, I did not know what to do. He's like, I was going to lose everything. And so he just tried, I tried to not leave the house. I tried to stay with my family. But they already sent my son away, and my wife doesn't even want to have anything to do with me because now she's sleeping with this other guy.
Gosh, I know.
It's so messed up.
You don't want to leave, but also maybe the best thing is just to cut ties.
Oh.
What do you do?
So he just is like, I don't. He came home one day and he found his wife home with that other guy, and he for a split second he's like, yeah, This almost became a different kind of murder podcast. He was like, I almost put them in the ground. I was so mad. He's like, but I have kids and stuff.
Right. So what can, you can't.
What do you do?
Oh.
So, yeah. So the wife's name is Edith. And Edith has turned completely against her husband, and she's with this other dude. And also, Tom's dad, Jim, starts realizing, oh, yeah, and then I started noticing this other thing. Jones started talking more about doomsday. Like soon.
This is inevitable.
Yeah, right.
Boy, that's weird when people get like...
And it was all about the nuclear war. He was just like, I don't even know what to do. I want out. But when he would try to leave Edith was like, well, you wrote that letter, and you could go to jail, and I could just divorce you and take all the kids.
Wow.
So he is trapped.
Oh, wow.
Just trapped.
Wow.
So what they end up doing, he's just there. He doesn't even know what to do. And at one point, he started sleeping in the barn with the dogs. Because he's like, well, I can't sleep in there, but I don't want to leave. I don't know what to do.
Frankly, sleeping in a barn with dogs actually sounds...
It's not the worst thing.
Okay, to pick. Blue girl, go lay down.
So anyway, at one point, because when you're with this family, you end up getting all these weird jobs you have to do when you're working for this church.
You think?
One of the jobs, he had to drive a bunch of government fruit, basically from someplace to the church. It was probably illegal, but the church ended up getting this food, and he was driving it, and he got pulled over. And the thing is if you were a member of the church and you got pulled over doing something illegal, you could not blame the church. You had to basically be accountable.
Take it on yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So he gets pulled over, and he's like, well, turns out at this point in time in the area of California,
yes, he had no bananas?
The district attorney is also a part of the church. There's several people on the police force that are also a part of the church.
So
he's just like, okay, what do I do? And they're like, well, you have two choices. You could go to prison for transporting this fruit that clearly the church didn't do. You know, it was totally on you. Or we could send you down to that property we bought in South America and go work there. So his two choices were like, I go to jail.
Or I go to South America.
And at least be halfway free. So he ends up going to, they send him down to Ganya.
That is oddly, bananas is a weird word to use here.
Right.
On account of the fruit.
So he is separated completely now from his family. His wife stays behind with her lover. His children are living there. He goes down there. He says he ends up doing a lot of work down there. He digs 3 separate wells. They make him the farm manager. He was explaining that the jungle soil is almost impossible to grow any kind of farm stuff. Just the way the dirt is. His son is still trying to do terrible things still trying to get out of the church himself up in California. At the age of 12, Tom tries to run away again. He didn't realize at the time that all this running away was going to help him in the end.
Really? What?
You'll see. So he ends up, because he keeps running away, the church separates him from whatever family was watching him. And they go, okay, you're going to live in this apartment that's in the back of the church. So he gets put in there with another kid about his age who also keeps doing the same thing. So there's these 2 boys going, yeah, this is all bullshit. How do we get out of here? And then they put them together. And they're like, this is amazing. Because they just got really good.
Simpatico, right.
Yeah. They're like, oh, yeah. His name was Brian. So basically at the age of 15, the 2 of them, they're about to enter 9th grade. They're living together, and they just learned how to basically beat the system. They would we'd sneak out all the time. We'd go out on the town in San Francisco constantly.
Nice.
They got really good at avoiding security at the compound at the church. They would get an allowance they would take money from one of the plates from church.
Oh, okay.
And so they were saving up a little bit of money, so they were trying to find a new escape plan to get out again. They somehow get 2 bus tickets. They put his friend buddy Brian, on a bus and send him over to the aunt and uncle that tried to help him before. And they're like, okay, we're going to get out. And they all show up, and the aunt and uncle are like, we'll call your mom, and he talks to his mom. Yes, you want out? Yes, I want out. Yeah, we're going to get out. Doesn't happen. What happens? What happens? I can't even think of words. The cars pull up. They put him right back in the car.
No.
And so they're like, okay, we're done with you, Tom. You're never going to listen. You're going to get sent to Ganya, to where your dad is. He has not seen his dad in 2 years at this point. So he gets sent down to Jonestown. And within, I'd say, a few months of that, his buddy Brian also gets sent to Jonestown. Mm-hmm. And so now you have these 2 teenage boys. And the boys they're like, apparently Brian has been set up to watch Tom, and they're like, we totally both hate this place. And one of us is supposed to watch it.
Right.
Yeah, we're like, this is fantastic. So they're trying to figure out ways to basically get out.
Goodness.
Now they're stuck in the jungle. And there's many times where Brian and Tom, like, they get those big long knives that you see. The
machetes?
Yeah. And they explore the jungle. At one point, they planned on walking back 3,000 miles, but they always got caught.
Holy shit! 3,000 miles?
They wanted to.
That's a lot.
I know. They were just ambitious. At one point, for whatever reason, they got caught again, and somebody had the bright idea to shackle them together. So these two teenage boys are shackled together by the ankle. Tom says they both still have scars from that.
No.
So they're shackled together. They can't take their clothes off to shower. So they basically they just shower with their clothes on every day.
Right, so they're just living with like skin.
Yeah. It's just nasty.
Lesions and no.
So eventually when they ended up Brian, his friend, says, "Why don't you smash my thumb?" He's like, "Why?" He's like, "I want to go to the nurse. I want them to see what the hell's happening." So he ends up smashing his thumb. Not too bad. Didn't break a bone. They go into
the
nurse, and then about 3 different people from the compound down there in Jonestown, they start looking at the shackles. They're like,
"This isn't great.
This is not great. Those need to come off." So they end up taking the shackles off of them.
Oh my goodness.
So you know, they're down there as a
Janet,
family.
this is so awful.
I know, it's so awful. And now we're getting to the point to where they're like, okay, we can tell there's some things happening. We need to figure out how to actually
now
leave
we're getting to that
I know. Once they got a lot of the family there from California, once they all were there, Jim Jones did not have the amount of money that he said they had. So like immediately people didn't have enough to eat. There was just not enough to go around. So it was already becoming chaotic. It was already becoming, a pressure point. Jim, the dad, he basically was like, things are going down here, and he brings his son aside, Tom, and he's like, we have to get out of here. Do not get in trouble for the next 3 or 4 months. Because if you do, we're not going to be able to get out of here. Just lay low. We're going to figure it out.
Oh, wow.
Finally, Edith, Tom's mom, finally comes down there with her 3 daughters. Mm-hmm. One daughter, I think, is already old enough, and she's already married. But she comes down there with the mass exodus of everybody else from California. Jim has not seen his wife, who's still in that same relationship, for 3 years now.
Oh my goodness.
She's still in that same relationship, and she still does not really care about her husband.
Wow. Wow.
The moral and health declined in Jonestown because they were low on funds, as I said. And they also noticed that Jim Jones was starting to get more and more paranoid because he was doing more and more drugs.
Right. So no food. And
He's
everybody is just
pressure point, right? And the members could tell that there was something slipping with Jim Jones. They're like, this is not good. Jim Jones starts doing these things for the 6 months before the big day. Event. He starts having these church sessions in the middle of the night called white night drills, where he pretends to poison everyone.
Why would
he's testing them to see if they will do it. And he does this multiple times.
And everybody's like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll take the pretend poison.
Yeah, they're drinking a thing called Fruit Aid, which is like Kool-Aid. So he did this multiple times.
Oh.
At one point, Tom and Brian are sitting up. I guess they like sitting on roofs. They're sitting up on a roof. Ah! They're watching everybody drink this Kool-Aid, and Brian's like, there's no poison in that. I made that Kool-Aid. And so they're kind of giggling. And Jim Jones stops and he's like, what are you two giggling about? And they're like, oh, well, we're just, they got really good at lying to him. They're like, we're just, happy that we're going to be a part of this mass thing.
Wow.
So everybody was completely getting brainwashed and they were all expecting this to go down. So crazy. So, remember the guy in the beginning of my story who started reporting, like the first part? He's the one who got that out. He was like, we need to go down there and see what the hell's going on.
Completely.
So a friend of a friend had somebody who's a part of the temple. He ended up dying mysteriously when he tried to defect. And so another family his family was like, you know what? Something's not right. And
he was a part of the temple and now he's dead.
Yeah, and he didn't even get down to Jonestown. And so they happened to be friends with the congressman in California. And the congressman decided to invite journalists, as you already know, and TV stations to go down there to check up on this little wonderful new way of life called Jonestown. They go down there. Everybody pretends to be happy. They're only allowed to say certain things to, they're supposed to avoid the reporters, but if the reporters say something to them, they have to, they've all been told what they have to say. At the end of the first night, apparently a note has been passed to one of the reporters going, yeah, can we get on your airplane and leave? Because we don't want to be here. Turns out one of those letters was from Edith. So at some point, Edith, once she gets down there was a radio, because they had been cut off from everything. There was a radio that somebody else had that they weren't supposed to have, contraband.
Oh, that's so
And she starts listening to it going, am I a part of, we need to really leave for real. So she finally figures out, oh shit, we are all in a bad space.
The penny drops.
Yeah. She's like, we all need to get out. So her and her husband come to, terms. They're like, okay, we need to get us and the kids out. Just we got to get out of here. So now, you have the plane there. More people start, talking. And they're like, yeah, I want to leave. And
your children,
right.
too.
So one of their daughters did not get on the thing because she had a husband and they wanted to stay behind. They get over to the airplane. They all, they had to wait for a second airplane because there were so many people who wanted to get, so they had to wait on the tarmac for like an hour.
Oh, no.
They get on the tarmac, they start getting on the airplane, a truck pulls up with a trailer with a bunch of people and guns, and they just start shooting. Shooting. Now, the father doesn't die. Jim is on the airplane. The son, Tom, who's run away a bazillion times, he runs over and he's like, either we need to run or we need to close that big ass door on the airplane. He runs over, starts, that's a heavy door. And he's
right.
He's pulling on the door. His sister runs up behind him, starts pulling on him to get him more leverage so he can close it. And he says they both get shot, but they both get shot in the leg.
Oh.
And he's like, yeah, the back of my leg was like pretty much blown off. And he goes, my sister got hurt too, but we were fine.
But they lived. Oh, but they lived. That's so good.
So they close the door. After all the gunshots happen, that group takes off. And he had been told just before they got on the airplane, Jim, his dad, came aside and said, listen, son, if things go wrong, I know you're good at it. And you've been running around these woods for a while now, in the jungle, take your daughter, take your sisters and and just go. We will find you in a few days. I trust you. And so once they took off, it was time. And so Tom grabbed his sister, grabbed these other kids. They all took off into the jungle. They hid in the jungle for 3 days and 2 nights.
And they made it.
And then when they came back out...
Oh my gosh, Janet.
Jim ended up waiting back for them. And he was just super relieved to see, his children.
Anyone.
And then the other children that were with him were okay. Tom said he was pretty delirious by the time they got back out of the jungle because his leg was so messed up.
Oh my God.
He said he was in the hospital for a month trying to have that heal. Their mom went ahead back to town, so she lived, and it's just crazy. And then they made it back to the U.S.
Wow.
But yeah, so the boat, and listening to the actual interview with Tom and Jim is amazing. I mean, Jim,
again, you hear like those people that like kind of survive from these stories, and you're just like, wow.
Yeah, it never took. He was like, I don't believe any of this. I am stuck in here. How do I get out? And it saved him.
Oh my gosh.
So that is my take on Jamestown.
Woof.
So
I think
this is a good place
where
for
we take a little bit of a break.
Yes.
And I am going to take Janet out back and like put her on a swing ride.
Hopefully a truck won't pull up.
And there won't be any Kool-Aid.
And we'll be back for What's Nice.
We'll be back for What's Nice. If you like getting muddy with us, here are some ways that you can help support the podcast. BigMuddyMayhem@gmail.com. Send us ideas for new episodes, and also let us know what you like and don't like about the podcast. Of course, a good review will also help us reach new listeners. If you're listening on YouTube, leave a comment in the comment section. Join our Facebook group where we can talk about the episodes and we can hear your suggestions. You can also support us monetarily at patreon.com or at buymeacoffee.com. And, of course, please, the best thing that you can do, tell your friends. Pick 3 people. Tell them this week. Welcome back for What's Nice.
Welcome back.
No, I will welcome them back.
No, I will welcome them back.
No, I'm going to welcome them back.
I'm going to welcome them back.
I'm going to arm Janet wins. All right, go ahead.
No, it's you. It's you. It's you.
She won.
Okay, fine.
Anyway, welcoming back for What's Nice. From 1858.
Yes.
There is, in West Virginia, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Oh, okay.
And so it is a mason-built building. It is the second largest one in the world.
Oh, wow.
After the Kremlin. And so it was eventually, it was originally a mental health facility.
Oh, okay.
And so if you are not creeped out enough by the haunted amusement park, you can still go to the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Oh my God.
And tour there as well. Also, I forgot to give you my sources. I've got historicallyhaunted.com. Also, the Most Haunted City on Earth podcast.com.
Oh, wow.
Is where I got this What's Nice here.
Nice.
And what I love about it is they did an interview with the family, the Gaylord White family, that still runs the amusement park. And the podcast that they had that went and toured there.
Yeah.
They have ghost dogs.
Oh my God.
They have dogs that go and ghosts.
Oh my God.
Which is the cutest thing.
That is cute.
So, like I said, if we ever happen to find ourselves in West Virginia, we could go and, check out the Haunted Museum Park.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And then also check out the Haunted Lunatic Asylum of Trans-Allegheny.
Oh, my God. That's great.
In an old building.
Nice.
And maybe we could hang out, and I want to pet the ghost dogs.
Yes, of course.
And then, if we were to go there, the number one thing that we would have to do, we would have to.
I don't know what. Oh, wait a minute. No. I still have mine.
Oh, no, you've got to do yours. Okay, yeah, sorry. No, it's not time to be nice yet. Janet has to go first. You go.
Okay. It's funny you were bringing up pumpkins.
It's funny you were bringing up pumpkins. It's kind of a really funny thing to say.
So I decided to go near Crete, where he was born, it's just super nearby. It's in Lynn, Indiana. It is called High Point Hills. They have a pumpkin patch that opens in September of 2024. We are so excited to bring you an opening another season. We are a family-owned seasonal pumpkin patch and popcorn farm.
I want to go to a popcorn farm.
I know.
I like popcorn.
We offer fun-filled family activities for all ages. Visit us this fall to pick up your own pumpkin, make your way through our new corn maze, interact with farm animals, and play in our barnyard playground.
Interacting with farm animals and playing with a barnyard animal in a barnyard playground actually does sound a little bit...
Yeah. And then, look, there's a
sketch.
combine playground. It is a combine that you can play on.
Combine playground sounds like two words that should not go together.
There's a ribbon cutting ceremony.
Okay, well...
There's the sign for it in case you happen to be driving past. And then, of course, we have barrel rides.
I like barrel rides.
And then we have the farm animals you can go greet. Yeah. Goats. Goats.
I love that it just says goats.
And then here's the family on the playground. So, yeah, it just seems like and of course you have to have your, the baby with the pumpkins.
Oh, I know. Boy, those babies, when I see ever, like, a baby, like, in the pumpkin, I'm like, those children never look happy. I mean, it's cute as hell. Go ahead, keep showing me. But, they always look like... You're sitting in soggy, wet pumpkin.
Right.
Nobody wants that.
No. So that is my what's nice.
That is your what's nice.
Yes.
And like I said, now it looks as though, again, we have a road trip that we have to plan.
Exactly.
And I tried to tell you earlier, but now we're here. And there is one thing that, I don't care. Early, late.
Right.
There's one thing we need to let you know.
You need to stay Midwest nice.
You need to stay Midwest nice.